Dear learners, dear viewers, and everybody who is watching my video at this time being, I like to congratulate you. I like to wish you best of luck. And at first, I like to remind you about the lectures that I provided uh, back on narration. And today also I am going to tell you some exceptional rules of narration changing. Dear learners, please try to understand uh, while we are making the direct narration into indirect one, while we are going to change any tense, we have to remember some specific rules that are not general rules, that are some specific rules in any topic of learning English. So in this case, the narration has some specific or some exceptional rules from while we are making the direct speech into indirect speech. So first of all, I like to tell you the use of had better. Use of had better. Dear viewer, this is a phrase which generally take V1 after it, and I like to tell you that in while you are making the use of this phrase had better in the indirect speech, there will be no sense. So direct speech, he said Mina had better leave the place. Mina had better leave the place, dear viewers. And this is the reported speech. And this reported speech, I have place had better after the subject. So had better. This is a phrase that has taken verb to be verb 1 or the V1. So had better generally takes V1 after it, and while we are going to change the direct speech into the indirect one, we will see that this phrase, this encircle phrase, has no change in our indirect speech. In direct speech, in DS, you see he said that Mina had better leave the place. So dear viewers, you have understood that Mina had better leave the place has been changed. Mina had better leave the place, but without the change of had better. So had better has no change in the indirect space. Now I am going to tell you that, dear viewers, while we are making the use of for plus length of time or since plus length of time, both for plus length of time or since plus length of time has no sense in the indirect speech. Suppose direct speech, Samira said, I have been ill for 3 days. I have been ill for 3 days. In this sentence, you see there is a use of for plus length of time, for plus length of time, 3 days length of time. So in this case, the length of time with for plus has no change in the indirect space. Take a look at indirect space. Samira said that Samira said that he sorry Samira said that she I refers to Samira. I and Samira are the same person, so instead of Samira I have used in the indirect space she. Samira said that she had been ill for 3 days. Had been ill for 3 days. Had been ill for 3 days. Or you may use since plus length of time. In that case, that will be the same as it is in the direct space. So the for plus length of time or since plus length of time remains as usual in the indirect space. So dear viewers, now I like to give you another example. I like to give you, dear viewers, please try to understand. While we are going to make the use of any time clause in the direct space, that time clause will have no change in respect of tense in the indirect space. That is, I clearly tell you that the tense of the time clause will not be changed in the indirect space. So dear viewers, please take a look at Salma said when I was living in Dhaka, I often saw Korean. So dear viewers, in this sentence you see there is a time clause. Salma said, when I was living in Dhaka, I often saw Korean. So in this sentence, when I was living in Dhaka, this is the time clause. You see, when the underlined clause is the time clause, because the sentence has been started, or the clause has been started with a time adverb, that is when. When I was living in Dhaka, this is a time clause, and in the indirect speech, the tense of this part will not change. So take a look at Salma said that when I mean or refers to Salma, so Salma changes into she. Salma said that when she was living in Dhaka, she had often seen Korean. Dear viewers or learners, what have we seen here? You are saying that When I was living in Dhaka, only the person has been changed here and was living in Dhaka in this case, that is in the direct space, and you also see was living in Dhaka in the indirect space. So the tense has not been changed in the indirect space because it is a time clause. When she was living in Dhaka, this is a time clause. So time clause, tense in the time clause will not be changed in the indirect space. But the principal clause, the tense of the principal clause must be changed. So the tense of this clause has been changed. Try to look at. I often saw Karim. This is the first indefinite tense which has been changed into the first perfect tense. She had often seen Karim. She had often seen Karim. This is the first perfect tense. So dear viewers, I think you have understood. If there is any fault or you have any questions, please let me know. Please let me know afterwards, or if you have any comments, please let me know. Now, I am giving you another important rule. That is, while we are making the use of it is time, wish, or would rather, oblique, sooner, etc., we have to see that the tense will not be changed. There was DS, Salma said, Salma said, I wish, I wish, I wish, comma, inverted comma, I wish I were a king. So this is a subjunctive. There goes, this is a subjunctive. So after wish or it is time or would rather, the tense will not be changed. And if it is a subjunctive, suppose you see, dear viewers, you see after which the sentence, in the sentence I were a king, and where is a subjunctive, a special kind of verb which gives some subjunctive is a special kind of verb which gives some notions about some imaginary thing or some uh, abnormal thing. So which will really not happen or would not have been happened. So in this case, this is the subjunctive and it will not be sensed in the indirect space. So direct indirect space you can write it like this way. Salma said that she wished, she wished, she wished she were, she were a king. She were a king. So as it is a subjunctive in the indirect space, it will not be changed. And in that case, in this case also, the subjunctive has not been changed because it gives some imagination or some reality. So at the present time. So dear viewers, you see, Salma said that she wished she were a king. So where, as it is a subjunctive where, it has not been changed in the indirect space. And after it is time, the tense is not changed. Try to look at. Yes, Hassan said, "It is time I went there." It is time I went there. So in the English space it will be according to the formula. Hassan said that it was time. It was time he went there. It was time he went there. It was time he went there. So dear viewers, please try to understand. Hassan said that it was time he went there. So the tense after it is time is not changed, and the tense after wish also not changed, as it is the subjunctive. And in this case the verb went is also a subjunctive, and subjunctive is not changed in the indirect space. And last of all, I like to give you another rule of changing narration. Dear viewers, while you are speaking of something that is really present at this time being, at the time of the speaking. So, while we are speaking about something that is existing at the time of speaking, in that case, the tense of that part is not changed. Try to understand. Direct space. Sabina or Peter. Suppose it is Mr. Peter. Suppose it is Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter said, Mr. Peter said, I didn't decide to buy the shop as it was on the lane. So dear viewers, we are talking about the shop. In the sentence, Mr. Peter is talking about the shop. Mr. Peter said, I didn't decide to buy the shop as it was on the lane. So Mr. Peter is talking about the shop, and the shop was on the lane. So while we are speaking about something and that is existed at the time of speaking, that part of the tense that which we are speaking of, and the tense of that part will not be changed. So please take a look at in DS. Mr. Peter said that he hadn't decided because past indefinite tense changes into past perfect. You see, this is the past indefinite. I didn't decide to buy the shop. This is the past indefinite tense, and it has been sensed into the first perfect. He hadn't decided to buy the shop. The shop as it was on the lane, as it was on the lane. So dear viewers, think that the shop was on the lane. So while we are going to speak of the thing, or while Peter is speaking about the shop exactly was on the lane. So the existence of the shop was on the lane, and in that case, the tense of that part, it was on the lane, has not been sensed in the indirect space. It was on the line. It is as usual, as like as in the direct space. So it was on the lane in the direct space, and similarly it was on the lane in the indirect space. So dear viewers, you can understand some specific rules of changing direct spaces into the indirect ones, and I have tried my level best to make you understand about the lessons today, and I think you will keep learning English with full attention, in full swing, to change your life. Till then, wish you best of luck. Thank you, everybody.